Welcome to part 2 of the Omnisphere 2.6 update video. In the previous video we looked at the arpeggiator and we looked at some of the new presets of this update. There were some questions regarding exporting MIDI data from the arpeggiator into your DAW. Okay, so my name is Matthias and this is Morning Dew Media. Let's take the tour. Yeah, so in the previous video I was working in Bitwig Studio and somehow when I exported or captured the arpeggiation from Omnisphere, the pitch glides or note glides within this within the arpeggiation didn't appear in the MIDI export in Bitwig. With Logic it works totally fine and you get all these note glides with the MIDI export. So let's look at an example. We just press the capture button here and we select 4 bars. And now it says waiting for notes. And as soon as we press a note it will start to capture. And we can also change key while the arpeggiation is playing, and that will also be captured. So let's listen here. So there we have 4 bars of arpeggiation. Now we can just press this MIDI button on Omnisphere 2 and drag our MIDI clip into Logic. And there we have it. So let's just double click this clip and we can see that the pitch bend is with this MIDI file, and we have the note velocities and all these note dividers. Okay, so we need to go into Omnisphere and disable the arpeggiator because we have the arpeggiation as MIDI data. So now we can use this step sequence with another synth if we want. So just drag it down to this other track where I have a Zebra 2 patch that I created for this video. Okay, so let's look a little deeper here. We create a new instance of Omnisphere. And somebody had a question regarding the presets of the Roland D50. So let's select 2.6. We can search for 2.6 patches. And if we scroll down the list here, we can see we have the Andromeda patches, the D50 patches. But as you can see, it's not by all means all the patches that you have in those synthesizers, but rather a selection of the samples and a selection of some of the patches. Because if we load up, say, this glass blower, so in part 1 we have this D50 bottle blower, and in part B we have the glass voices. So down here we have all these parts, the A, B, C, D, and we can solo them or we can mute them, and we can link different parts together. So that's a sweeping kind of noise. And then we have this. This bottle blow sound. And then if you go into the folder, we can see actually, we can select by synthesizer. And we can scroll down the list for the sources and go to the D50 if you want. And here we can see which of the samples from the original are sampled into Omnisphere 2. And it's the bells. And we have the bottle blower, digital native dance, Fantasia, future pad, etc. So it's a nice collection of samples from that one. And if we take another synth, maybe the GX10, the big sauce. And the dark pad. So let's initialize this preset and create a little preset of our own. We go into this cogwheel icon, which is the settings, and initialize patch. And now we will get a clean Omnisphere 2 patch. So here we can go into the part number A, which is our first part. We have 8 tracks within this Omnisphere and we have 4 parts. So each can have four different sounds. And each of these sounds can also be used with the unison and the harmonia or granular mode. So that's a lot of oscillators at the same time. Okay, so let's go into sample and see and find some nice sounds here. Let's look at the Oberheim, the Prophet 5. So we can just activate unison to get a fatter sound, more voices. We can select how deep, that means how many voices. You can see that by this icon. And it says how many voices we have and also the stereo spread of these voices. Now we have a mono sound and more stereo. And we can also pitch these unison voices. So let's add a little bit of release to this sound. And go into the effects section, and here we can add effects to all the parts, or we can use this common, which will apply the effects to all the parts, which is kind of the last path in the signal chain. So let's add a little reverb there and increase our CPU load because we will get a nicer sounding reverb. Okay, so that's the beginning of our sound. Now we can filter this. Maybe have a steeper filter like the UC 24dB. And as we have a few more parts here, we can just, if we want to add some more to this sound, maybe some more organic sound source, let's press this B part and open up the sample area. And here we can select some more, maybe some psychoacoustic source, the Kalimba family. Let's drag down the A part, the volume for the A part. A little bit too much reverb here. And add a C part, another sound source. Let's go and see if we can find some noise. And for this C part, we can move the starting point a little bit further into the sample, so we can hear the sound more faster. Let's drag it down so we don't have so much of that sound. So you can have very rich sounds very easily with Omnisphere. Add a little bit of a tad of delay to this. Maybe the delay too. Okay, so that's how you can create the very interesting sounds in Omnisphere quite quickly and with ease. If there's something more you would like to see in Omnisphere 2.6, please shoot that in the comments below. If you're new, please subscribe, hit the like button and the bell icon for notifications when I have new videos online. Now we can continue and watch my next video. Thanks for watching today, my name is Matthias, see you in the next video, bye bye.